Hari Om. So the fifth chapter begins with Arjuna's question. His question is, what is the better for me to follow the path of Karma Yoga or Karma Sannyas? Bhagavan has developed the topic slowly and steadily right from the second chapter. Our goal is to gain that state of enlightenment, Sthita Prajna Avastha. In order to gain this, we have to go through the path of Karma Yoga, and that leads to knowledge, and that further leads to dhyana, meditation, and abidance in that self. So Bhagavan had already mentioned in detail the path of Karma Yoga, and in fourth chapter he talked about some other sadhana also which we can do to purify our mind, and thereafter he talked about knowledge. In order to gain knowledge, before that we have to gain vairagya. In order to gain knowledge, we have to give up all our attachment to so many actions and focus attention on gaining that knowledge. That is called karma sannyas. We drop many of the activities and focus attention on Shravan, Manan and Nididhyasan. That's what Bhagavan said. You approach a teacher and learn from the teacher. Because learning and activity cannot go together many times. We get distracted by too many activities. So in order to learn, we have to have total focused attention. So Bhagavan mentioned that path of sannyas, karma sannyas, wherein one can approach a teacher and learn. So after listening to Bhagavan, Arjuna felt that why not take this path directly? Why go through the path of Karma Yoga? Why not drop everything, take this Karma Sannyas and follow this path? But because Bhagavan praised both the paths. He praised Karma Yoga and he praised Karma Sannyas also. Therefore, Arjuna asked this question, please tell me what is good for me. Bhagavan says both these paths are in fact one only, they are twofold and they lead to the same goal. But they happen in some order. So first we have to go through the path of Karma Yoga and then only we can reach the path of Karma Sannyas. And Bhagavan considered Arjuna at an initial level wherein he should follow the path of Karma Yoga first. Therefore he says that for you, Karma Sannyasat Karma Yoga Vishishyate. Karma Yoga is better for you because both will lead to the same goal, but one has to get very well established in it, then only it will help. If you are not fit for Karma Sannyas and you drop all activities and try to follow that path, you may get distracted and will not benefit from that sadhana. Therefore, for you, this path of action is good. See, those who are more rajasic, those who have a lot of that energy in them and lot of desires, and still that control over our mind, over our desires are not there, then the path of action is the best. And it comes natural, because when desires are there, we are motivated into action. The more the desire, the more the person becomes active. The less the desires, the more the person becomes contemplative. So when we have so much of Rajogun in us, it is better to exhaust this energy by rightful action. And that's what Bhagavan advises Arjuna, that you follow this path of Karma Yoga. And a good Karma Yogi is like a sannyasi only, free from all attachment, free from craving. He can be considered as a sannyasi. And this, both Karma Sannyas and Karma Yoga leads to the same goal of enlightenment. But why we have to follow Karma Yoga first? Why not follow Karma Sannyas directly? That Bhagavan explains now in the 6th verse. We shall chant. Sannyasastu mahabaho dukkhamaptumayogataha yoga yukto munir brahma nachirenadhigacchati Sannyasastu mahabaho dukkhamaptumayogataha yoga yukto munir brahma nachirenadhigacchati. Bhagavan says that directly to take sannyas is difficult. Sannyasastu mahabaho, he mahabahu, oh dear Arjuna, that directly to drop everything and focus attention on gaining this knowledge is not possible for many. It is dukkham aptum. It is very difficult. Dukkhena aptum. With lot of difficulty one can follow this path. When that lot of desires and cravings and ambitions and this type of qualities are there within the mind, that person cannot sit quietly and study. That person cannot sit quietly and meditate. That person cannot focus attention on self-inquiry, because the mind is going out and this is like going in. It is not possible. It's like a little child who is interested in watching some, let us say, some program on television, Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry has come on television, and the mother tells the child, you study arithmetic, you study this. That fellow cannot pay attention. It's not possible. When that intense craving and desire is there, the mind just cannot focus on study. And therefore, in today's world, actually, we have so much of distraction. Students and normally people are not focused. Our attention span has gone down. It has gone very much down. Every 5 minutes we want some distraction. Then again we can focus. Then again little distraction. Coffee break, tea break, other break. Then again distraction. It is not possible for our mind, which is full of desires, full of craving, to focus our attention on one point. And knowledge requires that complete attention. Otherwise, we will not know what is happening. We will listen to the pravachan from the teacher, but our mind will go somewhere else. In the Ramayana, there is a story of Shiv Bhagwan, the greatest of all teachers. He was teaching Parvati ji. She was Sati, in that form of Sati, but she was not focused. She was distracted because some program was happening at her father's place, and a lot of Viman, planes were flying in the air, going there, so she got distracted. Now and then she used to look up, kaun ja raha hai? In between she asks question, please tell me where are they going and all. So Bhagavan said, I am telling her about this Brahma, but she is not focused. So sannyas is not just wearing a particular dress and going around. Sannyas is jnana lakshanam. Sannyas is to jnana lakshanam. Sannyas means knowledge, following the path of knowledge. Renunciation of all that is low. Ultimately, renunciation of sense of doership, ahankar. So that is not possible immediately. So we have to weaken this ahankar by lessening our mamatva. Mamatva means sense of possession, myness, which is done through karma yoga. So karma yoga is a beautiful sadhana wherein we have to perform our action, dedicate it to a higher altar without having attachment to the result. Having that intention that this action itself is my fulfillment. The result which comes is like a bonus, is like a gift, is like a prasad. So when a person lives in this way, the sense of myness, mamatva, becomes less and less. And when that mamatva becomes less, ahankar also becomes weak. So then it becomes easier to follow the path of knowledge. Therefore Bhagavan says that sannyasastu mahabaho dukkham aptum ayogataha. Without yoga, without karma yoga, sannyas is difficult. It is possible with lot of effort, but it is unnecessary effort, difficult. But a person who has followed the path of karma yoga, such a person smoothly enters the path of sannyas or this path of knowledge. Yoga yukto munihi. Yoga yukta means karma yoga yuktaha, one who is endowed with the attitude of karma yoga, one who has imbibed the spirit of karma yoga, one who is living his or her life like a karma yogi. Such a person, and also Bhagavan adds one more term, munihi. Muni means manana shilavan, contemplative karma yogi, one who is thoughtful, one who is not just blindly performing some actions, one who is a thinker, a thoughtful person, a contemplative person, one who contemplates even as a karma yogi, one who contemplates on questions like, who am I who is performing this action? Who is that Ishvara for whom I am dedicating this action? What is the meaning of dedication of this action? What is the meaning of keeping the mind in samatva, in equanimity? How to remain asanga? So all the factors of karma yoga, one contemplates, one thinks, especially about Ishvara. So such a person, yoga yuktaha munihi brahma nachirena gacchati. Such a person easily attains that state of sannyas.